How did you lose your best friend? No idea. He slowly stopped answering calls, texts, emails. His wife, even more so. I'd occasionally stop by to see them and everything appeared to be okay. They never stopped to see us. Even though his mother lived just a few miles away. I just quit trying. Same thing. After months of me always making the plans, I left it up to him to call me. It's been 24 years now. I'm starting to think he might not call. Maybe it's just a phase. We're on a break. Best friends since we were 12. Best man at my wedding when we were 28. Day after the wedding he never spoke to me again. No explanation. Calls and texts went unanswered. He would avoid being at any social event I would be at, which was a few, because we had the same circle of friends. Tried for 2 years to keep that friendship alive. For another opinion on what may have happened besides the comments below, sad as it may be, it could be you grew apart and he didn't want to remain your friend. But he felt bad about ruining your wedding. So he made it seem like everything was fine. Did his duties as your best man. And only then felt like it was acceptable to ghost. Not saying it's right. But I know some people that changed for the worse during wedding prep once they got engaged. I also know some people who got jealous that their friends were in relationships or married while they were single. I felt that to a lesser degree. She got into heavy drugs and suddenly decided she doesn't like me anymore. She probably saved you from years of stress. Yeah, most likely. 100,000%. His wife tried to sleep with me. I didn't let it happen, and I told him about it. They reconciled and had more kids. Then it got weird whenever I was around, so we drifted apart. They reconciled and had more kids. Then it got weird whenever I was around, so we drifted apart. Very similar thing happened to me. I caught his fiancée flirting with some guys in a bar on a night out. She told him she was on a girl's night out. From what I could see it was her and one other girl flirting with guys all night to get free drinks. Maybe nothing wrong with that. But in another bar, later on, I came out of the gents, and she was in the corridor with her hand up some guy's shirt, his hand on her ass, and it looked like they were in the middle of making out. She saw me and snapped out of it and went into the loo. I sent him a text saying what I saw. No reply until the next morning. He phones to say she's accused me of trying to kiss her and grabbing her ass. Long story short, she convinced him that I had come on to her and my story was deflect blame. He believed her because she was at him. We made up enough that I was best man at his wedding, but things were still distant. It was only after 5 years of marriage, when they broke up, that she admitted she had made that up, and he apologized. Slowly everybody just grew apart. Basically, some got jobs after college. Some of us joined the Marines. Some started their own companies. Some got married and had kids. Here we are in our late 30s, and we'd be lucky to hear from any one of us via text. Man, I don't even have a single way of contacting them. But I do have new friends and we get together every week for D&D. I started using a wheelchair. I learned the hard way that most friends just can't deal with that. Almost all of my friends today never knew me as a walking person. You are better off with different friends. I know. I've never been good at making friends though. These days few of us are. I'd say I've had 3 best friends I've lost over my lifetime. First one, I was the asshole. Second one, he was the asshole. Third one, just drifted apart as our lives went our separate ways. Same here. 3 besties. First one, she was the asshole after I was the asshole. Second one, drifted apart. Third one, she married a super religious guy who didn't approve of me. Depression. I pulled away from everyone because I didn't want to inflict myself on them. In the same boat as you. Same. But issue was that I became rumored with my then best friend. It did not end well. He killed himself. I often go and meet up with his little brother and we play with his toy cars. I think it takes my mind off it as much as his. Sending hugs to both of you. Thank you. From me too. He kept cheating on his wife and went to jail twice for beating her up. I told him I didn't think that was good behavior, and he told me to F off, and that I didn't understand marriage, since I was unmarried. My best friend and best man in my wedding was married before me. I was still in college when he got married. He always talked about how him and his wife were going to have a threesome. I thought, good for you, man. Shortly after I got married, that changed to him saying he was going to hook up with this chick by himself as his wife kept chickening out. Dude, that's now cheating on your wife. He had a kid shortly after that, and he was born right around my birthday. My wife was taking me out of town for my birthday and he invited me to his kid's birthday party. I declined, saying I would be out of town, and he stopped talking to me. I kept waiting for his kid belonging to this other woman. I noticed that he never came to my place to catch up. I stopped going over to his place to see how long until he noticed. It's been 5 years now /view 200D. Over the years I have observed a number of friendships that it's always me that makes the call. They always are delighted to hear from me. If I organize something, they come. They just don't make the effort. I have been best man 5 times, so I don't think that it's because the friendships are not valued. I don't know. Am I missing something? Hey, if you've been the best man for 5 different people, then I doubt you've missed anything important. You're definitely appreciated by your friends. In Ike, they say that the Ike meatballs are made of customers that got lost. Stop revealing plot of Squid Game Season 02. He stayed up all night putting finishing touches on a senior term paper in high school. The deadline for the paper was unforgiving, and at least one person missed the deadline every year. Paper was worth 50% of the term grade. He was a smart guy. Top 5 in a class of 500. Anyway, he didn't show up at school the next day. Around midday they announced his death due to a traffic accident on his way to school. I'm not sure he was my best friend, though he was a very good friend. But I'm pretty sure I was his best friend. Good guy. Lousy ending. RIPRC. As I was reading this, I thought I might know you, until I reached the cause of death. I had a friend with the exact same situation, except he was the one person who missed the deadline. He and his parents got into an argument about it that night, and he ran upstairs, locked himself in his dad's closet, and shot himself. All because of a paper. RIP Jonathan. Stood my ground. Chat. He stole from everyone. He took my money twice. Once straight up taking the whole wallet too. On another occasion he wanted to borrow my Gamma Boy Color and my extra copy of Pokemon Yellow. Important detail is the quotes around borrow. Motherfucker never brought it back. Probably never played it. Supposedly he did it like this for drugs. But on other occasions he has stolen things just for the F of it. So who knows? I was not the only victim. Well, I wouldn't say best friend particularly, but someone as close. So he borrowed a harmonica that was given to me by a family friend of my dad's before he left for India permanently, which BTW side note. He came back a year later and then died immediately. So yeah, he borrowed it and then he gave it away to his friend who then never returned it. Yep, the stupidest way I lost something. Our parents got married for 3 years and then they divorced, and now I don't have a best friend U0001F972. Oh gosh, that sucks. Can't even keep in touch with socials. Best friend is gay. Known him for about 35 years. Marries a woman who is a total religious psycho. She even lied to him 4 years about her age before they married. Always tells him what to do, and he's the type who can't say no. She finds gay porn on his phone and makes him delete all social media. Cut off ties to everyone he knows outside of family. Get STD tested. Confess to their preacher and his parents. Makes him get a new phone and puts tracking software on it. I haven't seen or heard from him in nearly a year and have no idea how to contact him. He should have never kept secrets from her, but he should have never married her in the first place. I wish there was something I could do. No way to convince him to leave her? Hard to do that if he has no idea how to contact the guy. Ops words. Close bracket. Good point. Don't skim read. Kids lol. Commas are so important. Caught him sleeping with my girlfriend of 4 years. FK. That's rough, man. Suicide, I still miss him. The worst part is, he's always going to be 23. My memories of him are always going to stop when we were young. I'm going to get older and he'll stay the same age. It'd be one thing if we grew up and drifted apart, but now it's just nothingness. Not even the bittersweet smile one gets when they are reminded an old friend is still out there somewhere. I had a dream, some years ago now, where I was walking through a local park and my best friend who had passed away was just sitting there at a picnic table. Even though he was looking the other way, I could instantly tell it was him from the shape of his stupid bald head, and called out. He turned around, smiled, and I sat down. We sat and talked for what felt like a couple hours before a feeling came over me, and I looked straight at him and said, "This is a dream, isn't it? Because you're gone." And he smiled that big crooked toothed grin, looked at me straight and said, "Yeah, but who gives a fuck? At least we got to hang out for a while. I've missed you." And moments later I woke up. I can't wait to see him again in another dream, to catch up again on all that has happened since then, tell him about my kids, show him what I've become, and just share some time. I told his parents shortly after that dream. They both had big smiles and his mum just said, "Sounds like something he'd do. Find a way around the system just to have some fun." Cheeky shit. Even if I never get that again, I'll never forget how good it felt to see him one last time. I hope you get a chance to catch up too. I know your friend would love to hear all about how things have changed, and just share some time together. Sudden brain aneurysm at 42. I'm so sorry. That is a hard one to suffer. Thanks. Honestly, they just expected more out of me than I was capable of giving. Just blurred lines and unrealistic expectations. Same. She wanted me to always talk to her and always do stuff together, and I'm simply a very introverted person. The kind that prefers to be alone for long periods of time, because being around people just drains me of all energy. She is the complete opposite and never tried understanding my point of view. Some other friends suggested she may have had feelings for me, but I highly doubt it. Don't think she'd ever date a fat girl. IDK. It may not be the best thing to get so isolated from everyone, but the rest of my friends, which I've known for the same amount of time as her, or less, are pretty much okay with it and understand why it happens. Wish I could meet a friend like you in real life. As an introvert, it is so tiring being friends with a bunch of extroverts. I would love to just have a friend group made up of introverts, where we could all just understand each other. I'm glad the rest of your friends are understanding though. Codependency. I became basically obsessed with her and it just became too toxic. I had to cut it off because it was eating me up inside and she didn't deserve how I was treating her. Yeah, I kinda had a similar thing happen to me lately with a girl I met last year. I just couldn't get my mind off her. She was just a nice girl that I met at a shop. It all went away. Car accident in 1988. Still call her mum on birthdays, Mother's Day, etc. She was 5 days younger than me. We always said we'd do a double 21st. She only made it to 19. Miss you, Tracy. It's wonderful you have kept a connection to her family. He slapped my girlfriend. My best friend jokingly threatened to do this in front of a girl he was trying to impress, and when I said that's not okay, he just kept digging that hole. I could play off almost anything else, but wasn't going to let him save face over that, and he wasn't going to get shut down in front of a girl. I don't care who you are. If you are a threat to my family, I will destroy your life with cold uncaring abandon. This was back AHW, we were 13 or so. She wanted me to drop stuff I like to do because it was too nerdy. Being involved with the scouts, reading, drawing, all not cool. Apparently we went to different high schools and she was embarrassed of me with her new friends. I did not do that and I haven't seen her in years. We spent pretty much our whole childhood together. My childhood best friend and I basically had the same thing happen. However, our moms are still friends since high school, so this friend and I have a superficial relationship of "oh how are you, I care so much" not really. He got married, and she doesn't allow him to hang out with anyone without her. I got a friend like that, unfortunately. I still see him, them now I suppose, from time to time. But because it's never the two of us anymore, and we don't see each other that much, our relationship has changed to something way more superficial. FCK that B, she stopped talking to me because I confronted her about the way she was abusing my friendship. I'll let her move in with me because she said she was in dire straits with her husband. Even though my house was already crowded, she moved in and would just party every weekend. She would try to win over my friends by embarrassing me in front of them. I could go on and on. I'm so happy she's out of my life. I'm glad you got out of that toxic behavior. Her boyfriend hit on me quite aggressively, and I told her, and she didn't believe me until he did it to another one of her friends a few months later. 130 milligrams of methadone. Bro. Same. It's such a miserable existence. If they are on the correct dose, they are supposed to not feel anything, and the methadone is just there to occupy their receptors, so they don't go into withdrawal. My understanding is that a lot of people at those clinics abuse the methadone and claim that they need to be on higher and higher dosages. It's true. My aunt is on the highest amount of methadone possible every 8 hours. She has been on this for 20 years. She slowly lost her mind. She saw bugs everywhere. She wouldn't eat or drink as it was all contaminated with these bugs. She started spraying cans of bug spray all over the house. I counted 7 cans of morphine in one day. She would also spray it into her hat, and when she started losing all her hair she said it was because the bugs breed in her scalp, and when they hatch they come out through the hair follicle and take the hair with it. She was also spending $50+ a week on OTC scabies creams. I took her to dermatologists and parasitologists with her bugs that she had caught in a jar. It was just couch fluff in the jar. They would pull me aside and tell me that she needs to be admitted to a mental health ward. But the problem was that it would have to be voluntary, and in her mind she was right. It was her against the world and we were all in on some big joke to get at her. I still absolutely cannot stand the smell or sound of aerosol bug spray. I was only 14 when I lived with her. She saved my life. I still miss her. No jokes. This guy was always naive as hell, and I accepted it. But one day he asked me to talk with him without phones on street. Warning. Dumbest part starts. He said that his grandma told him that he is Stalin grandson. Then he said he wants start a revolution against Putin, and he wants me to participate in that. I refused, and he stopped being my friend. Sorry for my bad English, as you could understand. Him from Russia. P.S. about the phones part. He thought government can listen to us through them and get rid of him if they hear the revolution part. This was wild from start to finish.